If you like videos like this, go to failnormal.com to see the full library. I do not like this, Sam I Am. I do not like this new interface. Or green eggs and ham. Still trying to get used to this interface. It's on the app that I use in order to record these videos. So if it's an iPhone XS, I've been using the same piece of software for a long time now. I think I bought this piece of software all the way back with my iPhone SE like years ago. And the interface for the software has literally been the same for years, like since the iPhone SE. So I had an iPhone SE, and then I had an iPhone 10, now I have the iPhone XS. Interface has been the same for years. And then something happened, don't know what the hell happened. I guess my phone auto-updated itself, and now it has this new interface. And apparently, at least it works. At least the software works, more or less how it's always worked. But I'd say I don't like the new interface. I don't know, all these companies are changing their interfaces right now. And I really have to say, like as a user, that's kind of what we're going to go into today. I'm going to be talking about consistency. And I have to say, as a user, it really annoys me because I like consistency. I like things to be, again, if the things were working well how they were, and you're not really going to give me a massive improvement, why are you messing around with the UI? I think about that like with YouTube right now. YouTube has massively changed their back end, their administrative back end, and it's horrible. Like I really hate it. I can't get the data that I used to get. There's all this stuff. Like I was happy with how things were before. Now they're forcing us into a new user interface because they've decided that's what you want. Or a Nike run. So I run every morning. I did 4 miles this morning, trying to get up to 5. So I've been running 3 miles a day for a couple of months now. Did my 4 miles this morning after beet juice. Just a little random piece of advice here. I got the advice to drink beet juice before like hard exercise routines from an old boxing instructor. And I have to say, today I drank my beet juice and I went out there. I did 4 miles. I did 4 miles pretty good. 4 miles, not too bad. But anyways, my Nike Plus, I've been using Nike Plus. Again, I've been using Nike Plus for years and years and years. And all of a sudden, there's like this update. I didn't even know there was an update. And then I go to use it, and for music and all that kind of stuff, there are all these changes. And so, again, like why I buy Apple. Why I buy Apple is because I just want to go, I want to click a button, I want to do what I'm doing. But one of the things you run into is with these apps, the apps run on Apple. And so I've been having these issues like with Nike Plus. All of a sudden, they massively modified their interface for music. Because what it used to be before is you selected what playlist you wanted to play during your run, and then when you hit start for run, it would automatically start the playlist. And so you're used to things that way. That's how it's been. Now there's this weird thing where you can start the playlist before you start the run. So you select your playlist music. As soon as you select that, the music starts playing, and then you click the button to start the run. But the problem with that is that can kind of screw you up because like in the past, that was the thing, like in the past there were times when I had music playing, but then I hit the start button, but then for some reason Nike Plus didn't actually start, but then I was hearing music, so I thought it was tracking what I was doing, but it wasn't actually tracking what I was doing. It's a big mess. So anyways, I don't know. All these companies right now are just changing all their interfaces. I guess unless at least with Nike and this thing, it's probably for the new iPhone 11 Pro so that they look fancier and cooler. But you do wish with some of this stuff, like, can I just keep the same interface I've always been using? The last interface was fine. Anywho, let's talk about the topic of the day. The topic of the day I want to talk about, again, along this line of thinking, is consistency. And how consistency as a business can be very valuable in this modern world of internet sales, right? So more and more sales are going online. More and more sales are going to Amazon.com and basically purchasing things online. And I want to talk about the consistency aspect because it's interesting, right? So I just purchased the iPhone 11 Pro and it is getting shipped to me hopefully on Friday, right? So the iPhone 11 Pro with 512 gigs of storage comes in at about $1,400 US. Plus, I bought a case. People always talk about how like Apple rips you off for like the price of computers. Let me tell you, cases. My God, that's like 25 cents of material. It cost me like $40. Oh well. Also bought a case completely online, and I want to talk about this online purchasing experience. When you start paying real money, again, $1,400, $1,500, right? Because in the past, again, like with Amazon.com, it was really easy back in the days. Thinking about buying things off of Amazon 20 years ago. Basically, if there was a Terry Pratchett book that they didn't have at the Barnes& and Noble, you would go and you would buy Terry Pratchett online. But now, again, they're starting to sell more and more and more and more things online at higher and higher price points. And so one of the things that's interesting for me being in the YouTube world is I've heard how much crap people have talked about the new iPhone 11 Pro for not being innovative. Again, to be clear, when was the last time a desktop computer was innovative? When was the last time a laptop computer was innovative? When was the last time a tablet was innovative? When was the last time a smart TV was innovative? Just putting it out there, just sliding that across. Hey, right, do with it as you will. But anyways, there's a lot of complaints out there that the iPhone 11 Pro basically looks exactly like the iPhone 10s looked, which basically looked exactly like the iPhone 10 looked, and how this is stupid, and this is moronic, and this is foolish, and it really shows you how Apple is failing. And I want to talk about it from the other side, right? Because when you're a reviewer, when you're doing videos or you're writing blog posts and you get paid to put out 600 words or a 6-minute video or whatever, one of the things that you have to do is you have to figure out something to talk about. You have to figure out something to talk about, right? And so one of the big things in the Apple world is talking about how they're not innovative. And one of the things that I find funny, again, for me being a consumer of Apple products, is it's always like, why is that such a bad thing? Because I look at when I buy Apple products, for me, what I know when I buy Apple products is I more or less know exactly what I'm getting. Because one of the things you have to think about, like if you go out there and you try to buy an Android phone, right, there's all kinds of Android phones. There are literally like 1,000 different types of Android phones. So one of the problems is if you decide to buy an Android phone, one of the issues that you're going to run into is deciding which one you're going to buy. You're going to buy Samsung, you're going to buy a Galaxy, or you're going to buy a Note, or you're going to buy a this, or you're going to buy that, there's just so many things out there. And one of the things that I like about the Apple world is that they have a consistency in product. Their product, more or less, always has the same look and feel. And one of the things that I really like, that I really appreciate about the iPhone 11 Pro, and one of the reasons that I'm willing to buy it online, sight unseen, is because basically it's more or less like the 10s, like the 10, just with a better camera, faster processor, and a couple of extra functions. And that's actually a good thing. People talk about this as this is a bad thing. This is the failure of Apple. Well, think about it for somebody like me, right, that uses Apple products, that actually uses them professionally. Again, I make money off of this, ergo, I'm a professional using the products, right? So when I look at the Apple product, what am I actually looking for, right? As somebody who makes money using my iPhones, what am I actually looking for out of the iPhone, right? I am looking for a phone that is stable, that has a decent battery life, that interacts with the rest of my systems, right? So when I get done with this video here, I use that AirDrop. I talk about AirDrop so much. Again, AirDrop Net, just putting that out there. That is going to be the decentralized network of the future. But anyways, I use my iPhone to be able to AirDrop onto my iMac Pro and do all that kind of stuff, right? And so for me, I'm looking for that kind of functionality. But again, as somebody who actually makes money off of doing content creation, and somebody who's, again, the great thing about content creation, one of the beautiful things about content creation is the profit margin is idiotic, right? I can sit here in my basement that I already own and talk into a camera, and more or less all the money I make I get to keep, right? I do go off to Web Summit, I do go off to different things, but I do that more or less because I want to, not actually because I need to make the business work. So when you look at being a web content creator, you've got like a 98% profit margin. It is damn near all profit, and it is a beautiful thing, right? And so when you got a 98% profit margin, so I'm not really worried again, I talk about that with business. Businesses, they've got to be thinking about what they're going to invest in. Do I rent a bigger building, or do I hire another employee, or do I rent a billboard for advertising, or do I do this, or do it? Like a lot of businesses, back when I had my consulting company, right? When I got an extra amount of money, it wasn't a question of whether I would spend it. It's what's it going to get spent on? Is it going to get spent on marketing? Is it going to get spent on new employees? Is it going to be spent on facilities? Is it going to be spent on inventory? Blah, blah, blah. Again, one of the nice things about being a web content creator is you've got a 98% profit margin, and yeah, don't really have anything to spend it on. The weird part, again, as a content creator, which is completely bizarre, again, one of those things you have to be careful about. You can actually invest in what you do, bring up the quality of what you do, and actually make less money, because now people think it's less authentic. That's its own bizarre ass little world. All right, so for me, I sit there with 98% profit margin, and so I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I use my iPhone XS. I like the camera. I like all the stuff about it. I have been using it for a year. But if it was a bit faster, if it had better cameras, and if it had a bit better battery life, that's worth $1,400 for me again. I don't know if it is to you. I'm not telling anybody else to do anything. But to me, $1,400 for a better camera, faster, and better battery life, and a couple of other bells and whistles, that makes absolute sense, right? Because again, like for me, like whenever you look at the featured image, so for like failnormal.com, it seems like a small thing, but it's actually significant. Those featured images, when you go to failnormal.com and there's a stupid ass picture for the post, right? Those have to come from somewhere. And so I use my iPhone. So again, when I'm in Italy, when I'm in DC, when I'm in Web Summit, anytime I see anything that might look interesting that I might be able to use as a featured image in the future, like it spawns something, I pull out the phone and I take a picture. Well, yeah, the iPhone XS is very fast, but, could be faster. If it was faster, I wouldn't complain. And so for me, as somebody who makes money off of doing content creation, if you tell me better camera, better battery life, and faster, I'm going to say it's worth $1,400. But one of the questions that then comes up is like, and again, that's why I talk about this whole interface thing, with this whole app that I use, and they change the interface, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, one of the questions, though, for me, if I'm going to buy a new phone, I want a better camera, better battery life, faster, but again, you got to think about the other things that go with it. I also use my phone to run. So when I go jogging in the morning, I do my 4 miles, I use my phone. I use my phone to I drink my coffee in the morning, and I surf the internet, right? So there's a lot of things that I do with my phone that are kind of like touchy-feely things. Again, like the size of it and the weight of it. The size and weight. I have shorts. I guess everybody has shorts. But when I go running, I have shorts. I slide this phone into my pocket, and I know it feels comfortable. It is slightly big, but after about, 20 seconds of running, I don't notice it anymore, right? If the phone was bulkier, if the phone had different dimensions, if the phone was physically different, I might not feel the same way. Again, when I'm sitting there and I have a cup of coffee and I'm surfing through the internet in the morning, I can hold my phone in one hand. I can use my thumb to surf up and down and click things, right? I know that's comfortable. And so you get a lot of the reviewers out there, especially a lot of YouTube folks, who go, it's got the same notch. It's got the same size. Basically, it looks exactly the same as these last, 2 models of iPhone. This shows you how Apple is failing. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I go, wait a minute. So basically, it's going to be the same form factor, same weight, all that kind of stuff that I'm used to right now, that I like right now, with a better camera, and faster, better battery life. Well, that's an easy sale. I don't need to go to the store. I don't need to go to the store to see what the look and feel of it is, right? Because if I was going to go to Android, if I was going to go to something else, I'd be like, let me go to the store. Let me actually take a look at how do I feel about this? But basically, if you're just telling me it's going to be damn near exactly what I have now, just bigger, better, faster, that's an exceptionally easy sale to do. And so that's why I just did the $1,400. That's what I was thinking about before. Because again, So I went from the iPhone SE and going from the iPhone SE to the iPhone 10 a couple of years ago. You know, I had to go to the store. I had to really think about, what about the notch? A lot of people lose their mind about the notch. I don't understand. It's a notch. It is as it is. Whatever. But a lot of people are like, not. And so I had to go to the store. And I'd be like, oh. And I'd look at it. How do I feel about the notch? Can I accept the notch, right? So going from the SE to the iPhone 10, that was a big deal. And I had to look at the size, because the iPhone SE is nice and small, and the iPhone 10, the size is bigger. So then how do I feel about the size? How do I feel about the weight? How do I feel about the notch? How do I feel about Face ID? How do I feel about all that stuff, right? And there really was. So going from an SE to an iPhone 10 was really... There's a lot of, how do I feel about this day to day when I have a cup of coffee? Right? Well, the thing that I noticed, right? So last year I bought the phone that I'm using now, the iPhone 10s. And basically when I went to buy the iPhone 10s, the big reason why I bought the iPhone 10s last year was actually for storage size. So doing my videos for Fail Normal, my original iPhone 10 only had 64 gigs of storage, which sucks. Again, video files, downloading movies when you travel, that kind of thing. 64 gigs just isn't enough. So basically, last year I was like, okay, well, I do need to upgrade storage. So I'll go out and get one of these iPhone 10s's with the 512 gigs of storage. Good. If you're a content creator, get 512 gigs of storage. It was a smart idea. But the thing was, I was nervous. I was like, again, it's $1,400 for a phone. Believe me, I completely grasp how idiotically stupid that price point is. But again, I make money, so whatever. So, and that was the thing. So I already had the iPhone 10, going for the iPhone 10s. And so what I did is I ordered it online, but then I picked it up at the store, right? So the day it came out, I went through the queue, I went through the line, I went through all of that stuff, right? So I had to go to the store, and then I had to get in the line. And the thing was back then, they gave you the option to send it directly to you. But I was a little like, right, this is a $1,400 phone that I'm buying. And I just, like ordering it online, getting that online without touching it first, I was a little bit nervous about. But then that was the thing. I went there, I went to the store, I got in one line, then I was told to get in another line, like literally, so there's a store. There's a line in front of the store, and so you go through the line in front of the store. Then once you get to that end of that line, you actually have to go to a different line that's literally on a different floor in the mall, and then you get into that line, and then that line winds up until you finally go back up and into the store. So I had a time slot. I literally had a time slot for when to get my phone, and it was just idiotic. And then I got my phone. I got my $1,400 phone, and I'm sitting there, and I had my $1,400 phone in my hand, and I'm looking at it going, wow. So it's basically bigger, better, faster than my iPhone 10. And I literally sat there last year thinking, why the hell did I just wait in line for basically a better version of what I'm used to? And that's just right. Better cameras, better speed, better battery. I don't know if I had better battery life, but anyways, right? And so that's where I come to this year. Again, they come out with a new iPhone 11 Pro, and I look at it. Exact same form factor, more or less the exact same weight. I guess it weighs like an ounce more. I'm not really worried about that. Got the same notch. Got all the same, like it or hate it. Basically, it's the exact same form factor of what I'm using right now. And so then I sit there and I go, well, if I know it's the same form factor, again, it's the same OS, it's the same all of this stuff, just better camera, blah, 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 then why the hell am I going to wait in line? I'll just order it online and get it shipped to my house. Yay! And I think it's one of those things to be thinking about, like in this modern world of like internet sales, is there's this idea with the kids, especially like with the reviewers, and that's where you have to be careful about like the Twitter. There's the Twitterverse, and then there's the real world, right? There's the Twitterverse and the YouTubeverse, where they want new and cool and fancy and wacky and all that kind of stuff. But again, you got to think about like the average consumer. What does the average consumer actually want? Does the average consumer really care about all this innovation? Or do they want a phone or whatever else that just works? Do they want something that works, that is comfortable to use, that has a reasonable life expectancy, blah, blah, blah? Right? And that's what I would argue I think more people want. And so I think with a lot of people, if you conform more to that idea, it'll be a hell of a lot easier to do internet sales. Like Like these shirts, actually. I'm going to buy 6 of these shirts. Under Armour. So I have Under Armour. I have Under Armour other shirts. You'll notice I have black shirts that I wear from Under Armour. The thing with those black shirts from Under Armour is they're like cool tech. So hot. So again, here in Maryland, it gets 95 degrees with 99.5% humidity. So those black shirts are really nice in the summer. So you put those black shirts on, and they more or less keep you cool. They keep you cool enough, and they wick the sweat away, the whole 9 yards. But it's all a synthetic fabric, so it keeps you cool. The problem with that then is when it gets to be cold. So like this morning, it was 55 degrees when I went out, and we're going into winter, so it will get cooler and cooler and cooler. So that cool tech fabric just sucks in winter. Yeah, no crap. And so I have a couple of these shirts. I have a couple of these Under Armour shirts, and these are actually a blend. So it's a synthetic cotton blend. Basically what that means is with the cotton, they just feel a little bit warmer. They feel a little bit warmer. They feel a little bit nicer. And are just good for the winter months. So again, it's a shirt that I can put on. It's a full t-shirt I can put on, so I can just wear this around the house, then a t-shirt around the house, or I can throw something over it. You get the drift. But the interesting thing with Under Armour is Under Armour, for a lot of their clothing, keeps the exact same style for years and years and years and years and years, right? And so what's nice about that, see, they don't innovate. Even Under Armour doesn't innovate anymore. But the nice part about it is, it's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt. Like, what are you really innovating with a t-shirt? And so, like, I was looking this morning, and the thing is so my uniform for doing YouTube videos is a black t-shirt. So I wear a black t-shirt and a different gray hoodie. This is my Ralph Lauren gray hoodie. This is my Fonzie gray hoodie. I have a Lululemon hoodie over there. But anyways, I have an outfit. I basically have a uniform that I wear when I do the Eli the Computer Guy videos. And it's a black shirt with that gray hoodie. And so the thing is, with these shirts, I own 2 or 3 of these shirts, but they're all gray. So that doesn't fit in with my uniform. Well, the cool part is, since Under Armour has a consistency of product, I know that I like this shirt. And I bought these shirts like 4 years ago. And so I know I genuinely, to the core of my being, know that I like these shirts. I just need them to be in black. So now I can go to Under Armour and I can order 6 or 7 of these shirts of this size in black and get them shipped in, and I know I'll be happy. Right? Consistency allows the internet sales to be easier, right? I think about that with socks, right? Again, I also have Under Armour socks. Hey, look, I'm a Baltimore person. Under Armour makes good products. But here's the thing, right? These Under Armour socks. Any Aspies out there? I'm going to tell you a little secret. Let me tell you a little secret about how to be a professional Aspie. I literally buy something like 18 pairs of socks at a time. Sounds like a joke, but it's not. So one of the things I found years ago, especially as a guy, is that you have socks and you wear through socks at different rates, right? And so one of the problems you run into with your sock drawer is you have some new socks and some old socks, and socks that are like the same like model number, but some are newer than others, and it gets to be a real pain in the butt, right? Even if you have white socks, even if you have like 20 pairs of white socks, some of those white socks are 4 years old, and some of those white socks are brand new. It's kind of a pain in the butt figuring out what matches. So what I started doing a few years ago is about once a year, I throw away all my socks. All my socks go in the garbage. Maybe it's every year and a half. Anyways, I start to see basically when they start to wear out at the bottom. And at that point, I don't throw away 1 pair of socks. I throw away 18 pairs of socks. So what I do is I buy 18 of whatever socks I prefer, a pair of those socks, and then I wear those for another year and a half. So again, so basically like with my sock drawer, I don't fold my socks, I don't do anything fancy with my socks. Literally after the socks are washed, they literally just individually get thrown in the sock drawer, and I just pick up 2 as I go, and then they get run through, and then that's the nice part. So I don't have socks that are grayer than others. I don't have socks that are whiter than others. I don't have some socks that are dirtier than, no, they're all dirty, but they all get washed. It's consistency. And so one of the things is years ago, I found that I really like these Under Armour socks. They're specific Under Armour socks. Here, let me show you socks. So they're large, but they have this thing here, and they have this thing here, and then like it's a little bit different. I don't know, it's hard to say, but it's a little bit different fabric on the top than it is the bottom. There's some fuzzy stuff in here. There's all kinds of stuff. They're technical socks. They're geek socks. Anyway, but I really like these Under Armour socks. And so what I do about every year and a half, is I just go to underarmour.com, I order 18 pair of them, get them in the mail, throw away the old 18 pair, and move on in life. But think about, by having consistency of product, it makes that sales process so much easier. It's a frickin' sock. It's a sock. It's a sock. What do I want? I want a comfortable sock that's going to stay relatively white over a year, that I can run in, that I can walk in, it doesn't deform. Yeah, it's a sock, right? I don't need anything. And so by them having that consistency, every year I can just simply buy 18 pairs of sock and move on with my life. That makes it an easier sale for them. It makes it an easier process for me, and everybody is relatively happy. So I think this is just one of those things to be thinking about, again, with this modern world and internet sales. Because what I see, one of the problems that I really see is they talk about this, there's the Twitterverse and then there's a real world. And so one of the things you have to think about in the Twitterverse and the social media world is that people get paid for talking. They get paid for creating content. And so they got to find something. They got to find something to complain about. Right? There's nothing to complain about. They're not going to get paid. So one of the things that they do is they go out and they talk about, where's the innovation? Where's this? Where's the new? Where's blah, blah, blah? And what I would argue, I think for a lot of people, there's just a lot of this stuff out there where we don't really care that much about innovation. Again, like if you look at my clothes, if you actually look at my clothes, again, Crocs, I found Crocs in Toronto. I love my shoes. I actually have 3 pairs of these, right? So when I was in Toronto, there was this outlet place, and my wife had to go there for some reason, and they had a Crocs store, and so I bought a pair that looked like these. These are my second pair of these, just as something that looked a little nicer when I was traveling. And then they're absolutely wonderful shoes. So I went back, and once those shoes died, I found out we had a Crocs store around here, and I went and I bought 3 pair of these in different colors. I have this one, and then when I want to go all hipster, I have blue. It's like this blue with brown. And then when I go a little more professional, I have the black pair. But the reality is, it's a shoe. It's a shoe. What do I want out of my shoe? I want something relatively comfortable, that looks relatively attractive, that does not have a massive logo on it, right? It does have crop, but it's like, it's not like, that's what I want out of my shoe. And so now I found this pair of shoes, and I'm probably going to be wearing these types of shoes for the next 5 or 10 years. Right? Again, my socks. I've had these exact same types of socks for years and years and years now. Why? Because it's a sock. I found the sock I like. I just buy the same sock once a year. Lucky's jeans. So these are Lucky's jeans, right? Years ago, like 12 years ago, I found Lucky's jeans, and more or less, I wear the exact same pair of Lucky's jeans that I did 12 years ago. Again, for me, I don't know, Lucky's jeans wear out about every year, and so I go in, and literally the only difference in my Lucky's jeans compared to 12 years ago is probably the dye. They have a little dye process. And so over the decade, these probably are dyed a slightly different way. They're more, a more 2019 way than they were before. But again, that's right. T-shirts. Again, I basically wear Under Armour T-shirts. And so I think there's so many of these things in our life where we don't really want. It's like toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? I don't want innovation in toilet paper. I know toilet paper I like. I like this toilet paper. I hate that toilet paper. Just make the process for me to buy good toilet paper easier, and then I'll buy it from you, right? So I think that's just one of those things to be thinking about, because you got so many people out there like innovating, and you got to think about it like for the average person. Does the average person care? Again, like with a computer device. The average person is going to use their computer device to get on the internet and to check email and to look at Netflix. Just Netflix, of course, and do a couple of other things. Do they need, or do they even want all this wacky, fancy crap? Probably not. If you just give them a consistent experience, and every year you make it bigger, better, faster, and hopefully less expensive, I think it might be actually an easier sell for you. So anyways, there's something to think about, and there's something to ponder. Again, that's why, like for me, I have brand loyalty to things. Like I like Fords. Why? You know why I like Fords? Because when I buy a Ford, I always know what I'm getting. Like I bought a Mini. I had a Mini for a while, And you think about it, like consistency of Ford. Oh, you're old. You like consistency. Well, the thing was, I bought a Mini. I was so excited because I bought a brand new Mini. It was back when Minis were really cool. I don't know if they're still cool anymore. They were really cool. It was a long, long time ago. But here's the weird thing, right? And I always wanted a sunroof. I always wanted a sunroof. Well, see, Mini has 1,000 different versions of Mini. Like they don't produce, at least they didn't produce the same Mini. Like everything was always different, whether it was coloring or whether it was this feature or that feature or another feature. There was something always there. They never produced, theoretically, they never produced the same Mini. It was always. Well, here's a weird thing. Let me tell you one of the problems with non-consistency and things that you don't even expect. So, with my Mini, it had a sunroof. Yay! But then when you went to close the sunroof, the little slider thing to close the sunroof was mesh. So normally, like my wife has a sunroof right now, and when you close a sunroof, you get a solid thing that goes across and closes. Thunk. With this, it was this mesh and like mesh, like fishnet type mesh. It didn't really seem like that big a deal. The problem was, though, is since it was mesh, you would have this issue where like the sun would arc in at different angles during different times of the day, and it would be a complete pain in the ass. And you just didn't think about it, right? You just think, oh, okay, I'm going to have a sunroof, and then the sunroof is going to have a thing that's going to close, and then that'll be fine. But no, they wanted to be fancy. They wanted to be cool. They wanted to be mini. So with me, I got this fishnet thing up there, and the sun, when again, at certain times of the day, it would angle in there, and it sucked. My brand new cool Mini sucked because the frickin' sun thing sucked. And it was such a disappointing experience. I buy this brand new car. I'm all excited to get so many of these bells and whistles. And because of this one thing I was not even thinking about, I didn't even cross my mind when I purchased this vehicle. It really damaged my entire enjoyment of that car. It was one of the reasons I was happy to get rid of it and get a Ford Escape. I do have to say, Ford Escapes are really nice. I like a 2014 fully loaded Ford Escape. That was a good vehicle. Good vehicle. Just gotta put that out there. People say I don't like anything. That is incorrect. I like Under Armour. I like Fords. I like Apple. I like business class. I like things. But anyways. And that's the whole, like, I think that's what people are getting, like, people get worried about, get nervous about, is when you're buying these new products, yeah, you may get things that are fancy and cool and nice, but where, are you gonna get that mesh thing? And that mesh thing was just, it was such a detriment to the rest of the vehicle. And that's one of the concerns when people are buying something online is, oh, this is good, and this is good, and this is good, and this is good. But what am I missing? What problem is going to be there that I'm not even thinking about looking at? And then once I get it, and then I have it for a couple of weeks, and then I realize what the issue is, it's going to be too late to return it. So there you go. Consistency. In the internet world, possibly selling the boring product might be the winning combination. At least for me. I dropped $1,400. I dropped $1,400, $1,500, I guess, with the case, without thinking much about it, because I know I like the iPhone XS. I know I like the iPhone 10, and the iPhone 11 Pro is going to be the same form factor, only, bigger, better, faster. Not cheaper. Not cheaper. I do wish they would bring down the price. But, you know what I'm saying? It just makes it... Ooh. So anywho, with that, I'm going to go do a video on Linux permissions today. Yay! Explain what 777 means in regards to Linux. So with that, call it a day. See you folks later.